Peace, everyone. Greetings. It is Dynast Amir, Search for Uhuru. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining us. As we get started, guys, make sure you hit that like button. Again, please hit that like button. Also, we are approaching 100K subscribers. Once we hit 100K, I have a special giveaway, right? For a local, I mean, for not local, for a lucky subscriber, a lucky person out there. You will win a nice snakeskin duffel bag. Brad, there's a lot of background noise on there. A nice snakeskin duffel bag and some crypto, courtesy of Lead Token. Again, courtesy of Lead Token. I had the founder, on a couple months ago. Well, maybe it's already August. I had him on back in April, actually, or March. And so he gave me some crypto, and I said, you know what? I'm going to give it to a lucky subscriber when we hit 100K. So hit that like button, subscribe if you have not subscribed before. Also, make sure you go to dynastamir.com. Without further ado, we have Pan-Africanism Strikes Back, Brother Brandon. And today's topic, we're going to be discussing, if you guys don't know, Brother Runoko Rashidi passed away unexpectedly yesterday in Egypt. Don't know the causes yet. From what I've heard, again, this is from what I've heard. Again, I don't know the facts on this, but this is from what I've heard. He might have had a heart attack. So rest in peace to Brother Runoko Rashidi. But the discussion that needs to be had. So you have Runoko Rashidi, Amos Wilson, Dr. Ben, John Henrik Clark. And is there, these brothers who've put in all this work, right? Who have, again, put in all of this work, is there a succession plan? Meaning, who is in training to take over from where they left off, to keep it running? You know, in corporate America, if a CEO passes on, if the owner or founder passes on, somebody fills in. And the company doesn't miss a beat. But for some reason, when it comes to our teachers, you know, they put in all this work, but then once they pass away, it's kind of like it's done. It's over for the most part. So the importance of a succession plan. Also, too, you know, let's step back for a second. Something as simple as, do you have a life insurance policy? Do you have a will? Okay. Do you have long-term, what's the word I want to use? So life insurance, a will. Do you have a long-term, short-term disability policy? Long-term care, short-term care policy? This also needs to be discussed as well, because a lot of you guys are out there running around talking about generational wealth, and you don't even have a life insurance policy, right? Again, a lot of you guys are running around talking about generational wealth, and you don't have estate planning. There we go, estate planning. And you don't even have a life insurance policy. So again, succession plan. What happens when you don't have a succession plan in place? Brandon, you good? Brandon. Okay, Brandon's busy. So that's today's topic. Go ahead, Brandon. You're breaking up, Brandon.
Is my sound?
No, you're breaking up. Okay. Like you're not coming in. You're breaking up.
Yeah. I'm coming in. I'm like going right where I have better reception right this second. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, we hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So basically, you hit the nail on the head. You got a lot of dudes running around. Oh, I'm a scholar. I'm this or that. I hope you guys hear me. But let me tell you something. Scholarship does not make a person intelligent. It doesn't. What makes a person intelligent is having things set up, creating institutions that guard and protect their scholarship posthumously after they're gone, right? That's why white people created investments.
Brandon, I want people to hear this. The connection's not that good.
Hold on, I'm going to a better area where my connection's better right now. Give me 1 second.
Okay. All right. And guys, what we'll do in about 30 minutes, we'll open the lines as well. So if you would like to call in and add to the conversation. All right, Brandon, go ahead. Brandon. Okay. Brandon.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Dynas, what I'm doing right now is I'm gonna switch over to my laptop, okay?
Okay.
And then we'll go from there.
Okay.
But I'm just
You finally made it to the house?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Finally made it.
And guys, we don't want to, if you agree with Runoko's, teachings in regards to the all mixed or black or whatnot, we're not going to have that conversation today, but we're just going to focus more on the importance of estate planning and succession plan.
Okay, I'm coming to the studio on my other one. Just take me out of this one.
Okay. Oh, we're leaving for Nigeria next week. I am looking forward to it. We'll leave on Monday. We are headed to Nigeria for the Oshun Festival. Looking forward to having an awesome, excellent time. And in Sierra Leone, if you're interested in rolling to Sierra Leone with us in November, early December, let me know. Send me an email. Go to dynasty.com, send me a message, and we'll get you guys set up and rolling. For those who are interested in rolling to Sierra Leone with us into this year, let me know. All right, Brandon.
All right, sorry, I was late. Okay.
You good, man.
Okay. Yeah, so
start from the beginning, because you're dropping some jewels and you're going in and out.
Okay. Let me hook my mic up real quick.
Uh-huh.
I copied you. I got the same mic.
You got the one I told you to get?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
So tell me if my sound sounds more better. This damn thing's just hard to put on. Okay. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, we hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so basically, we have all these guys, right? Just because you have scholarship, that doesn't mean you're intelligent. That doesn't mean you have some type of special ability that anyone doesn't have. Scholarship just means you're a person who reads and absorbs information, and then you make theories based on that scholarship, or you just make assertions, right? So the first thing I want people to understand, these guys are scholars, and no disrespect to Runoko Rashidi or anything like that, but they're horrible examples of how you should arrange your life if you really think about it. Because at the end of the day, why did Pan-Africanism get coined as dusty Pan-Africanism? Because you had a lot of dudes who were these strong Pan-Africanist, outspoken people who ended up dying broke, or in their later life having to go live somewhere, where they didn't have any money. People like Kwame Ture, different people like that. Not saying they were poor, but just saying they didn't live a life that one would think of when they think of someone who's an elder who led a movement. You see what I'm saying? The leaders of the Democratic and Republican Party don't go live in poverty after they're done with politics. They're living in mansions and everything like that. And Dynas, my sound is okay?
You sound great. Just don't rub the mic, because it sometimes.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, okay. So,
all right, go ahead.
So basically, the leaders of the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, they don't get done with politics and then go live in obscurity, right? With no money, you know what I mean? Things like that. So so now one thing I love about the Pan-Africanism, the version that we do, is it encourages people look, it's okay to be a Pan-Africanist. It's okay to be about your people, but get your money, get your bread up.
Right.
because you can't do anything without having some money. And the one thing your people need you to teach them more than anything, like the Olmecs being black, on the scales of eternity, that doesn't mean anything. It's really just useless information. What we need is the Olmecs was black, and this is how you use that to get to some money. You feel me? Because now the war is economic. It's not even so much, it's all political, and money controls politics. So, like, I feel like for as much truth and all that as these guys were revealing, these guys didn't reveal what was the ultimate truth. These guys didn't really reveal what was the most necessary truth. Like, Dr. Runoko, how do you afford to go to Egypt all the time? How do you afford to go to Africa all the time without working a 9-to-5 job? How do you get to the point where you're able to sustain yourself financially without having to pretty much go work for the white man? This is the real information that our people needed, you know, more so than the history lesson, the nonstop onslaught of history lessons. And like I said, no respect to him, no disrespect to him, but I don't know what his situation is surrounding his death. One hopes he had things set up like a life insurance policy. One hopes he's able to get buried, you know what I'm saying, without too much hassle. No one's having to run a car wash for him or anything, especially with the amount of traveling and stuff he did. One hopes that he had things set up in place so that his transition was smooth, right? Also, you know, when you're working, right? You're having a heart attack while you're in Egypt. That tells me.
Well, hold on. Again.
Oh, it may be. But what I want to say is, are we keeping up with our health like we should? Are we putting as much emphasis on doctor's appointments, going to get MRIs? Because one thing that can be said about all these brothers you mentioned, you forgot Dr. Amos Wilson. You forgot what's his name?
Dr. Ben?
No, the other brother, the Nation of Islam brother.
Dr. Khalid Muhammad.
Khalid Muhammad. These brothers died of aneurysms, right? You know, things that if you're taking care of yourself and going to the doctor and stuff, because you know before you have that, you know, there's warning signs for that type of thing. Are we doing what we have to do? Hold on one second.
Guys, make sure you hit the like button.
Yeah, so, you know, these things, these different types of ways brothers is dying, whether, you know, heart attacks or what, but that speaks to what's up with what's going on with our actual physical health. You know, sometimes we get so caught up in our passion, we don't do the things that keep us in a position where we can continue to live our passion. And I think more so than so much the scholarship that people get caught up in and focused on, I believe that just like the science of living, you know what I'm saying? Like the education of how to live a long, productive life and how to stay healthy enough to continue to do what you love. I think that's something that we have to put more emphasis on. Like Runoko, he was right here in LA with me. He had a spot up in LA, you know, and they all got their little centers and all this type of stuff. But it was like, at the end of the day, was that a place where black men felt like they needed to be every single day? Not really. You know what I mean? It was more like, okay, he's there. We know he's there. We know what he's into, and that's it. You know, and Pan-Africanism as a whole has to grow to be something bigger than that. You set up the institutions to further your work and protect, you know, your research and stuff. But you once that's there, you know, then you can focus on the other aspects of life, because we need our older men to be teaching us more than, hey, this group of people was black. Hey, these people look just like these people. When you really look at things for what they are, that stuff is meaningless. I mean, wouldn't you agree?
I agree. I think so. It's just the issue is when you talk about business, Brandon, and you talk about being profitable or making money, you know, there's a negative connotation. Is looked down upon and frowned upon for some reason if you call yourself a Pan-Africanist. You know, it's like capitalism is evil. You know, you have to hate the white man's capitalism, but you got to love the white man, Karl Marx. That's what I call it. You know, you got to be a socialist, communist, Marxist. But then what I noticed, Brandon, these so-called, I hate the white man's capitalism, but I love the white man Karl Marx. They're the biggest capitalists.
Listen, if you hate the white man's capitalism, don't get your black ass on an airplane to fly to Africa, because that's capitalism. Why are you showing up to work every day? That's capitalism. Why are you buying a new AirPods? Why are you driving in a car? That's all capitalism. At the last I checked, there were no socially owned or socialist car companies. There were no socialist airlines, right? And at the end of the day, when you really think about it, Dynas, this is just a repetition of what happened in the 1930s, back in the day, where the Russians and the communists came in the black community, preached the lie of communism and socialism. Oh, we don't see color. It's not about color. Everyone's equal under this. And what ended up happening? It fell straight through. You had a lot of black people, my favorite author, Richard Wright, several other people who were black, even during the Harlem Renaissance, who were like deported to other countries, exiled. They were arrested and things like that because the United States, you know, there was McCarthyism, which was a deep-seated fear of communism. And black people jumped on that train already. So none of this is new. When you hear BLM and all of them talking about, oh, Marxism and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it reveals itself just now like it did back then. The main person who says she's a Marxist socialist buy $1 million homes. What Marxist socialist does that? They're supposed to share the wealth. They got money from corporations. They took the money from capitalism. Instead of distributing it, they used it for their own personal gain. I don't know about you, Dynas, but that sounds like capitalism to me. That sounds like wokeism to me, which is, you know, just as bad as Marxism. But that I'm using Runoko as an example of how things have to change. Things cannot be the same. You got dusty ass dudes able to try to come at Pan-Africanism. Oh, y'all, this and that. And that just shouldn't be the case. Like Dynas, nobody could come at you. Nobody can come at me because we're not just Pan-Africanists sitting around smoking weed all day with a dashiki on talking about the white man and we got to end capitalism. No, we're actually, you know, doing things. We're doing the work. We're building for our people, but at the same time, we're protecting ourselves so that we're not an embarrassment to our people. We're not a disappointment to our people at the end. We're showing, no, we have the ability to do things too other than this. And to me, that really shows and proves that we're not just doing this as a last-ditch effort to make money. We're like, no, we're successful in other arenas, and because of our passion and love for our people, we choose to do something else. We choose to be involved in this type of thing. And I just don't see that coming from our elders, man. I see a lot of history. Here, what about this history? What about this history? It's like, okay, the history is good, brother, but just teach me how you're able to do what you do without working for the white man. That's the true knowledge. Teaching our people how to become economically and financially independent, which I believe many of these people are. Brothers like Kwesi, Runoko Rashidi, brothers like Dr. Amos Wilson, Dr. Ben, John Henry Clark. These brothers have financial freedom because they didn't have to work for anybody. That's the lessons that that's what they should have wrote a book about. Hey, man, I got a peanut factory in Compton or something like that, and I use that to finance me while I do what I love. And so you got people in the comments talking about capitalism is oppression. Capitalism is oppression for the people who are too poor and lazy to use it to their benefit. Unfortunately, at this point, those people are us. But guess what? If we were on the other side of capitalism, we'll be talking about, man, look what capitalism did for us. Here's the thing. Capitalism is oppression. Jeff Bezos, capitalist, just gave, what's that dude's name?
Van Jones.
Van Jones, 100 million to do whatever he saw fit with the money. Van Jones is black. Capitalism just gave Patrice Cullors, BLM, 90 million to do whatever she sees fit with it. That came from top 100 companies.
She bought $1 million home in next to white folks.
They just gave her 90 million, right? You keep talking about how capitalism is oppression. You've been You've been begging democratic socialists for money for how long? 8 years, going on 12 years. They haven't given you a penny. You've been begging for reparations. At the end of the day, the only people who gave you money was who? The capitalists. So explain to me how capitalism is oppression when the only person or only group of people who's willing to give you anything, who's willing to bet on you are who? Capitalists. See, there's a disconnect there. When a person believes that the people who are willing to bet on them are oppressing them, and the people who are just telling them what they want to hear are but giving them nothing are helping them, you know that there's something dysfunctional about, the people that are looking at the way the people are looking at the situation. And he is a coon. But guess what? Who did we have who wasn't a coon, who could step up and say, nah, Jeff Bezos, give me that money? And I'm telling you, in 20 to 30 years, that'll be people like Dynas. That'll be people like me. That'll be people, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? That'll be people like Kala. That'll be people who show up for work every day, ready to do the job, but at the same time have a strong love for their people. Because if you ask me, who do I want to give that money to, Van Jones or Dynas? Give it to Dynas. You say who you want to get that money to. Get that money to Van Jones or Brandon. Pan-Africanism Strikes Back. Give it to Pan-Africanism Strikes Back, right? It's an easy call. But the people who get to represent us are the people who show up and do the work. The people who don't just get obsessed with history and, oh, this is all I want to talk about. The people who are putting themselves out there, withstanding the criticism, putting themselves in the public arena, defending their ideas. And that's where Van Jones is outpacing everybody, right? Because the people who you call scholars and leaders and all that, these guys don't have time for that. Got to take another trip to Egypt to talk about dust, right? No real action on anything that's vertical, just horizontal conversations on horizontal issues for horizontal back and forth movement, right? The new Pan-Africanism is going to be something that's vertical. Either we going to go up with it or we going to go down with it. But we definitely will be making progress. We will be gaining ground or we going to be losing ground. But we definitely going to be making moves, not just sitting on the same level, milking the platform. Hey, I want to do a trip here and a trip there. How many times you got to take a trip before you say, damn it, we just need to stay here? You know what I'm saying? How many times you got to take a trip to, until you stop tripping? And see, New T, you're not making sense. You come and tell me where I'm wrong at. I'm not wrong. I'm not making sense because you got a slave mind. You like sitting up talking about nothing 20, 30, and 40 years. That type of stuff is cool to you. But ain't not one of y'all created a GoFundMe for Runoko to bury him, to put him in the ground, or to get a tombstone for him in honor of his work. You're going to let everybody else handle that while you keep up with the virtue signaling in capitalism. Oh, we got to do this. We got to do that. You know what I'm saying? Where's this GoFundMe at? Where's something? You don't see it. And that's what I'm telling you. This is a thankless job. So you got to secure your bag at the same time as you fight for your people. Because when you dead and gone, or when you broke living in squalor, these people, oh, Brandon, you're not making sense. They're not going to do anything for you. They're just going to go move on to the next thing. How many of these people Dynas didn't even know Runoko Rashidi died? How many? Most of them. I saw a video.
I know a couple people that know who came in the chat room.
Man, there were so many people. Most of them. I saw Tariq. He announced he's on the beach somewhere, which is fine. He should enjoy his time and stuff like that. But what I'm telling you is Pan-Africanism has to change because we're living in a thankless world, and just sitting up, spending your life arguing horizontal issues, speaking about horizontal ideas and stuff, it's not enough. It doesn't foot the bill anymore. So let Brother Runoko be an example to you. Let all these elders who passed on be an example to you. We have to do things differently. The biggest work I know about Runoko is the South Pacific, where he's like, there's 8 black people were present in the South Pacific and stuff like that. And he had a lot of assertions. I don't really believe any of them, but he was very passionate about that, you know. And I don't think it got the traction that he wanted it to have, because during that time you have the rise of many YouTube and pseudo historians who were more charismatic, who were able to kind of pull attention through technology away from what he was talking about and studying. But I just really want to know, more so than anything, about the historical stuff he was talking about. I really want to know more about how this brother sustained himself, how he gained financial independence, how he was able to, go and travel all the time without having a 9-to-5 job. He was an older man. He was a senior citizen. How did he get to the point of senior citizenship where he could sustain himself and not having to check receipts at Walmart? Or, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, Dynas? Doesn't it got more intriguing to you?
Well, I would definitely like to know. See, you're right. I'm more like concerned about the business aspect. You know, the history is great, but the business aspect, I think, is more important.
Right. How do we turn the history into tangible benefits for our people? From now on, like, I really don't care about the history lessons. We say history is to teach us so we don't make mistakes of the past. The biggest mistake we've made in our history is economic dependence on other races. Depend on other races for food and all that stuff. How do we translate what these brothers are teaching into economic freedom, right? Economic independence, so that we can do what we want to do when we want to do it and still progress.
You got a bunch of feedback in the background.
I know that you on. Once let me come back. I know you let me on, Carlos. Want to go
ahead.
Some of the garbage. Runoko Rashidi. He died today?
He died yesterday.
Was it in America or some other country?
He was in Egypt.
So he retired?
No, he passed away.
Oh, he passed away. Oh, so he was still doing the work. Okay. So I take it the man must be like almost like 80 now this year.
No, he's in his 60s.
He was in his 60s? I thought he was older than that.
No,
well,
I
he
don't
must
think
have about turn. I think he was about to turn 70. But yeah, peace and blessings to the elder. He did a lot of work, a lot of grassroots. You know, like I say, he don't get his funding by white folks. Same with what's his name? The other scholar that's still alive.
You said what?
No, he don't get his money funded from white folks. He only depend on black people for most of his work.
Brandon, let me ask you this question, Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Brandon, am I having feedback? Just tell me.
No, you're fine. You don't have any feedback. Let me ask you this question, Brandon. Should we, as far as business, right? So Chaos Reign said that Runoko Rashidi didn't get funded by white folks. All right, now operate a business, okay? Should we, if we're going to be operating a business, should we stop with this idea that everything has to be black, all the money has to be coming from black folks? Should we stop that if we're operating a business? That line of thought.
My thing is this: when you come from the welfare mentality, you look at things like, if somebody gives you money, they're giving you a handout, right? So when you think like that, well, yeah, you'll think, oh, you shouldn't take nothing from white folks. But when it comes to business, you got to do what you got to do.
Right. I'm gonna tell you why I asked that. So I was on Sunday, Queen Afia, right? I don't know if you're familiar with Queen Afia. She has a book called Sacred Woman. She has a course, right, where I guess they work on healing for women. So they had their, I guess, graduation this past Sunday. So they had it down the street from my house at the Hebrew Israelites. They have a banquet hall. So I went on Sunday to go grab some cupcakes from the Hebrew bakery. My homeboy was there. He told me what was going on. So I went and checked it out. There were some white women in there. There were some Asian women in there. It's predominantly black, but there's a little bit of everything. So the point I'm trying to make, Brandon, should we open, if we're open for business, should we be open for business?
Yes. The only color you should see when doing business is green. Whoever want to buy it, biscuits or cupcakes. Were the cupcakes good, Dinus?
Off the chain.
Okay. The cupcake with you know, like McDonald's. McDonald's sell to everybody. McDonald's don't care about what color you are. As long as you got that green, you're welcome to come in and buy. Now, just because McDonald's sell you a cheeseburger, do that mean they giving you ownership of the company?
No.
Just because they give you that Big Mac and the fries with the drink, does that mean they make you CEO of the damn franchise? No. And black people should have the same mindset. Everyone can buy. That's how you become rich. Everyone can buy. Now it's up to you to have faith in your product. Are you going to stay with this company, or are you going to sell this company from billions and start another company? Are you going to stay with this company, or are you going to groom other people to do what you've done, then sell the company to them, or sell it to even a white person, but you got 4 or 5 black folks who have been trained to imitate what you've done, and they know the step-by-step process. We can't be mixing business with pleasure, right? Pleasure is when you get to be amongst your people, you get to talk about, you know, blackness, you know, you get to really talk about black power. That's a pleasurable thing to me. I don't mix business and pleasure. You know, when we're doing business, any man can get it. Now, when we're talking about pleasurable things, pleasurable experiences, we're talking about the distribution of wealth. Okay, that's something that's reserved for my people. You know, and anybody with that mindset, Dinus, is not gonna do well business wise. And they're really just talking. The people who say that don't own a business. You know that. You already know they don't own a business. They don't operate a business, right? So they're just talking about ideological things, ideological fantasies that, you know, they think makes them more black power or more Pan-African than anybody else. If you're a true Pan-African, you'll sell to anybody because that gives you money that you could use to further your cause.
TR, go ahead.
Okay,
go ahead, Kevin. Go ahead.
One thing I want to say, if y'all remember Cyrus Rossetti's teacher, I forgot the guy's name. Why it slips my mind? They asked him the same question, and he said personally, doing this work is a thankless work, and there is no retirement.
We have to change that mindset. Like I'm not doing anything that's not thankful. We got to get back. Yeah,
I know. The people that present the information now, even if they're still alive or dead, it's going to be a lot of us that's on this panel. To be fair, honest, because the way how the world is moving now, you gotta make as much money possible and move accordingly. You get me? Now, regardless, say, should you shut yourself off from white folks? To me, if you're doing digital, you're not gonna know where the money is coming. So I don't know why the logic people say that it shouldn't be only focus on black people, because now we're moving a global perspective. You're gonna be getting paid a service from most everybody across the globe. So to sit there and say you're sanctioning yourself, say if you're this, I don't want your money. I don't know if that's logic. It makes sense because white people they're gonna come snoop around and pay for any service, period, as long as it's quality and good. So, like I said, he's a historian and he taught around the world. Same thing with Queer Full. She teach around the world. So obviously she's not gonna get just black people's money. She's gonna get every other race money because she is well known. So when people said should we cut her stuff off, you have no choice because the world is global now. We're moving in a global direction now. So if you in it not only to make money, but you're passionate doing it, keep it in that mind. You're doing this for the passion, and then the money's gonna come to you. Especially depending on how you draw your business plan, how you go sustain yourself, everything will fall into place. So that's what I want to say.
All right, Tiarka, go ahead.
Yeah, peace to everybody. Yeah, I was friends with Runoko Rashidi on Facebook, but I unfriended that brother ironically a couple of weeks ago when he put up a post about the Olmec heads, you know, because I looked at the comments and I was like, man, yeah, I just can't do that, you know. But you know, I looked at his work and you know his name has, you know, real name recognition with me. And I respect that brother and I salute that brother for everything, he tried to put down because his intentions, were good. But it also, the things that he put down, held people, stuck on this thing about black and white. And I'm pretty sure, Brother Dynas, you could tell us from your well traveled, history in West Africa and all throughout the African continent that Africa is a continent filled with different ethnicities. Just because some
Uh, I mean, yes and no. I mean, it's predominantly black. I mean, you do have Arab invaders up north. I mean, you have to understand that the non-black people in Africa are invaders.
I
They're
don't
not.
I don't think Africa is very diverse like that.
It's
Like,
not. It's not
do you,
diverse.
if, do you Tiarka, are you thinking like Africa's like LA or something?
well,
Like,
this the way I see it. Like there are tribes there that have been existing for thousands of years that have not been affected by other cultures, and they have their own like bloodline and phenotype almost. Like a
nah,
Sudanese.
that's wrong. All the tribes come from the same place. Like, that's one of the biggest myths that people keep saying. Tribes are so unique. Most tribes were one tribe and then they broke off into clans and things like that. Even within one tribe, you'll have like 50 clans that's part of that tribe. So
Yeah,
100%
agreed.
wrong with the different phenotypes, 100% wrong with the different bloodlines. Most tribes were one tribe and just split a lot of times just over like disagreements. A lot of times somebody was like, I just want to go live over here. You know what I'm saying? What I will tell you is like, if you've been to, have you ever been to LA before?
Yes.
Have you been to East LA?
Yes.
All Mexicans, right? With a few people sprinkled in, right?
Well, I never was in LA. I was a truck driver, so I never like mixed like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, if you go to like East LA or you go to Chinatown, all Chinese, and it's like a few people in there visiting. That's about how diverse Africa is. All blacks, couple people there like visiting or living there. Africa
Well,
is black.
I'm saying I like the one tribe theory. All
Mm-hmm.
right, and you say that's incorrect, and I don't want to get into too much of a debate about it,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying like there are at least like my bloodline comes from L3, and of course the original woman comes up out of Kenya, but that's a whole different bloodlines from the L2 and the L1s, that are really strong ethnically African, So I'm saying like it's different tribal beliefs, different customs, even though I understand what you're saying as far as it's different subsets of tribes. That's granted. But I'm saying it's people that are totally different from each other. And until the Berlin Conference, they were forced to kind of like be together.
What I'll say is this: your mother could have one blood type, you could have another blood type.
Mhm.
Blood type diversity within blood is something that's a natural thing because in nature you can't just keep reproducing the same thing over and over or it becomes flawed, right? And then you got people mixing in, and there's certain chromosomes and stuff you share with your daddy, and you're not with your mama and stuff like that. Now, along those lines, yes, that's natural order of things. But as far as these people actually being totally different people, it's not like people keep saying that. But when I tell you that most of these tribes splintered from kingdoms that were like one group, and then they broke up and splintered, that's what you're dealing with over there.
One day you got to build on that, bro.
I thought like you.
Okay.
And then I went to Kenya, and then I start like if you go to Mount Kenya area, you got like Imbus and Kikuyus and Merus, right? These are different tribes, but they're all came from one tribe. See, so you get out there, you're like, oh, these Imbus is totally different from these Kikuyus. They're not. They're actually the same people, but they splintered into different tribes. And then from tribes, you got people who splintered into clans, and that could have been over somebody like some girl, and hey, the dad wasn't cool with it, so they ran off and made their own little subset, right? That this is how it works, more so than, oh, these are just totally different people. It doesn't work like that. But go to Africa and just ask the people. I would say more than anything, talk to the different tribal members, and they'll tell you like, "Yo, we come from this group, but we split it off years back." Stuff like that.
Well, my point, the overall point, and one day I'd like to really have that debate with you, but
Yeah,
my overall point was that, a lot of us as African Americans, especially when we see another population with dark skin, we automatically identify with it. Say like the Native Americans over here. You got a lot of people strongly identified with being Native Americans only because some of them had dark skin. And if you look at the skin map, that's the reason why. That's the scientific explanation, and it's
well,
pseudoscience.
well,
And
black people, look, and not to take this in another direction. Black people identify with Native Americans to explain whiteness, right? So if
Mhm.
you see a black person with some curly hair that's long, they're gonna say, "I got Indian in me," because
Mhm.
they not, we're not privy to, we're not really accustomed to saying, "Well, the white man raped my grandma, and so I got
Right.
that Irish blood
Right,
flowing through
right.
me."
For the most part, black people who identify as Native Americans and all this other stuff, it's just they're anti-African. That's all
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah,
that's it.
absolutely, I agree. Yeah,
Anti-African, and trying to get away from the narrative of there's a lot of white blood mixed in us. You will never hear a black person who has good hair say, "Yo, I got that Irish in me," or "I got that Eastern European in me." They're gonna say, "I got Indian in my family." But in reality, we know that Massa was going down to the slave quarters at night, and that's what's going to explain that light skin, and that's why the baby came out light when the mama and daddy is both dark skinned. That's going to explain that straight hair. You know what I'm saying? That's going to explain that flat backside, whatever. That's going to explain all that. But
right.
the politically correct answer to that, or explanation among blacks, the more acceptable answer is, "I have Cherokee, I have Choctaw." But we
Absolutely.
know Massa was down there doing his thing, and he
Mhm.
was mixing in. That's why a lot of these brothers, they take their Patrick clan test, they coming back with European, Eastern European lineage, and
Mhm.
they not coming back with Native American. But
Mhm.
we got to explain it with, "I got Indian in my family," and I just called Dynas this morning about this stuff and
Mhm.
about my family. They took the test, no Indian, and then I had one family member who just, her test said no Indian, and she was like, "Screw that, nope, I got Choctaw." These are common narratives among our people, but they
Right.
amount to what are myths
Mhm.
among our people. But
Mhm.
back to Runoko, what do you think about the situation with? What do you think about the subject matter, the curriculum?
Well,
Do you want to know more about how Olmecs are black, or do you want to know more about how Runoko supported himself and gained financial independence from the white man?
I would definitely love to hear about the financial side because we in the marketplace. No matter what
Right.
we do and think politically, as far as where we want to take our people and our desire to take our people, wherever we go, we'll still be in the marketplace, and we have to really come to that realization. A lot of us haven't came to that realization that this is a global economy and you're gonna fit in it some kind of way, whether you've been being used in it or whether you're the one producing and exploiting raw materials or doing whatever. We gotta wake up and realize that, man, we gotta get busy. It's no more wiggle room. We can't be trying to claim Mesoamerican culture as our own when we know we come from West Africa. We can't even spend time on that. We need to become educated, and it doesn't matter a person's skin color. A lot of these people look at Donald Trump. You know, this guy's the first generation of American. His father was a German. A lot of these people that we see today, and we call them white, they first and second generation Americans, and the ones who have been existed in this country as long as we have. A lot of them didn't participate in the slavery thing and in the kidnapping trade. At slavery's height, only 8%, not 5% of white people participated in the kidnapping trade. So, we got to quit pointing fingers and thinking that everybody white is this way and everybody black is this way. Because if you teaching that to anybody, especially your child, you teaching everybody black, it's true that the guy who was on that slave ship and took a sister up out of piss, shit, and vomit and unchained her and said, I want to have sex with you and returned her back to it. Yeah, he's a monster. But I know a guy who got out of prison, killed his brother, his brother's wife, a couple of the children. And the only reason we know he did it because one of the children survived.
Oh wow.
And he's a monster. So it's not about a person's skin color. You know what I'm saying? It's about what that person's showing you and that vibe you get. Because white slavery was just as widespread and probably bigger than African slavery. But I'll let somebody else chime in on that and go.
Hey guys, one second. Hey, link is in the chat room. If you guys like to call in and add to the conversation, click on the link. The link is in the chat room, you guys. Again, please, if you like to add to the convo, click on the link that is in the chat room. Also, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Again, please like, share, and subscribe. Oh, go ahead, Brandon. You have muted yourself though. You're muted. You're muted, Brandon.
I understand totally what you're saying, but these are individual cases. Like, these are incidents that somebody's deranged or mentally messed up or crazy. That's in all racial categories. We're speaking more about the political aspect, right? Because somebody could be 100% sane and still be used as a pawn by their government to go in and murder and genocide people and do all sorts of horrendous things in the name of securing resources or anything like that, right? White people were slaves. It's not my business. You know what I'm saying? I'm focused on the black folks who were slaves. So the thing we do when we start talking about other people and showing concern about their stuff and they experience, you're trying to have empathy for people who, when it's not advantageous for you. At this point, we have to present those people as monsters and enemies and stuff to give our people to teach our people to have the proper view of those people going forward. Like my daughter, I don't teach her to hate white people. I say, hey, honey, some white people are nice, but don't ever trust any of them. You know what I'm saying? Because the reality is the nicest white person, even they could love you like a sister or a brother, right? But the minute you got something they want, you become their enemy. And white people are trained like this because that is the psychology of colonization. Hey, you can be nice as you want to. Massa was real nice when the crops was doing good, but as soon as he started getting stressed and he had to go get another loan from the bank, everybody was getting their ass whooped because now what he has is in jeopardy, right? And it's down to this day. That white man will love you like a brother until what he has is at risk. That white man will, hey, what's up, Jerome? Let me buy you a coffee every day until, hey, his wife got boned by a black dude, or you know what I'm saying? He catches his wife watching black porn. Now you're the enemy. When he's threatened, he turns into an animal. And when you start to try to empower yourself, he's threatened. So if you're gonna have power, you gotta look at him for what he is, and you gotta act preemptively. You can't just react. Oh, what the hell, Bill? You're at my front door with a whole. Have you ever saw that movie, The Free State of Jones, Dinus?
I have not. No, I have not.
You should watch that movie. Those white people was all buddy with those black people. Soon as those black people wanted the right to vote, man, them dudes best friends. These dudes was best friends with some of them black people. Them dudes turned into straight Klan members and was killing them and mutilating them.
Wait a minute, Free State of Jones? That came out 2-3 years ago?
That was more than 2-3 years ago. But yeah, you remember that movie?
I saw the promotion of the movie, but I didn't remember
you should watch that. That's show you my white folks.
Hey, what's up, family? How y'all doing?
Okay.
We're good.
Hey,
go ahead, Rail. Go ahead, Rail.
Hey, what's up? Hey, my whole thing about it is, and I was listening to your conversation and stuff like that. My whole thing is, when it comes down to the system of white supremacy, we definitely need to devise a plan as people of color, whether African, whether Pan-African, whether Black American or even African, because the system of white supremacy is a global thing, and it's killing us. It's killing us left and right from all economic levels. So we need to devise a plan. We already know what the problem is, but the real question is, what is the solution?
Right.
So, so I was going to point out the fact of the economic wise. See, if every Black American, just think about it, in the four corners of the earth, if we all was to pull, technically, hypothetically speaking, if we all was to pull our money out of the bank, what would that do to the economic system globally? It would crash. We are the highest spenders, but yet we are the highest consumers. Our money talks. So we need to put ourselves in a position where we can make our money work for us. Being in America, I have to say, like I said, I got a house, but guess what? I don't own this thing. You know what I'm saying? I got a car. I don't own it. We don't own anything. And that's the goal. That's how they kill us. That's how they keep us here. That's how they keep us dependent on the system. Like I said, we ain't getting no reparations no time soon. So with that being said, we need to unify collectively our money, and we need to make it work for ourselves. Which I think, brothers, I'm all ears.
Hey, you want me to tell you something?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
These people who you talking to, they know that.
Roger that.
They know this stuff. This somebody put in there. I've had these conversations 20 years ago. Black people they know what we all kind of know what we gotta do. The biggest thing is we don't know how to do it, right? And that's why I was saying about the Runoko Rashidi thing. More so than teaching us historical facts, right? Teach us how to get to where you are. If you support yourself through lectures and books, teach us how to write a book. Teach us how to do a lecture. And don't just teach us how to do it on African-centered things. Teach us how to go sell Scottish people their history. Teach us how to go sell white folks their history. Like when you go to college, you got white people sitting in a history class taught by a Black professor, right?
Right.
And he could teach American history, industrial history, whatever. Teach us how to use those tools to make money in all arenas, right? Because there are white guys teaching African history. You know what I mean?
True. That's true.
And so that guy can go somewhere and say, hey, I'm going to do a lecture on this or a lecture on that, and say, hey, it's going to be $20 to get in, and he'll be the foremost scholar. I'll give you a prime example. You know that lady Jane Addams, Dynast, the white lady who always talks about racism?
Is it Jane Addams? Is that her name? I know it's Jane.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Is it Adams? Is Jane something?
No, Jane Elliott. Jane Elliott. Jane Elliott.
Jane Elliott. And the dude Tim Wise. You got two white people who teach Black people about racism. They do lectures and tours, and they tell white people what Black people think about white people. But they white. Why isn't a Black person doing that job? Right? And that's what I'm saying. These people are self-sustaining. They don't depend on anybody, right? But they're able to take another group's experience and capitalize on it. See what I'm saying? That's what I would love to know how to do. That's what I would have loved for brothers like Runoko and even Khalid Muhammad, because he was so damn smart and wise. Teach us how to do it. Teach us how to use the tongue, to make money, to get out here and be the foremost leading scholar on this and that, like Dr. Ben. You feel me? That's what I would love. Teach us how to use that knowledge, because there's a such thing as theoretical knowledge and applicable knowledge, right? Black people, a lot of what we got is theoretical. Well, this is this, and I think this would do this, or this is the technical formula for something, but we don't know how to take that and apply that and turn it into wealth or tangibles for our people. So you know what I'm saying? We need to we know what we got to do, but we need to start telling our people how to. And there's actually a lot of money to be made in that.
I think that the fact of the matter is, the reason why it's not being done is because Black people we collectively aren't willing to sacrifice what our ancestors back in the day was willing to sacrifice. Therefore, we're not being put in the position to be uncomfortable anymore. We actually, like I said, we're too comfortable. We're too comfortable. And that,
notice our ancestors, they were fighting to survive. right?
Mhm.
So they had to go and start a business or learn how to make shoes or learn how to fix wheels on horse-drawn carriages.
We
They had
still
to, because
fight.
that was
We
about
never stop. We still are fighting to survive.
well, no, no,
That
no,
that
no, no. In America, surviving is easy. Food stamps, Section 8 housing, welfare. Surviving is easy, right?
how
You go to
we
any projects in America, you got a bunch of people surviving, and they don't work. They don't get up and work every day. The white man has made survival easy, right? So
if
that
that was the
people.
case, we still wouldn't be getting killed at alarming rates.
Well,
we
that
still
well,
would,
look. Here's the thing: black people get killed at alarming rates, right? But let's be
right.
realistic. If you don't go nowhere, you're at a very low risk of that. And guess
I
what?
mean,
Most of our people don't even go nowhere. Like Dinus, you know, black people who barely even leave their own house.
I know black people who've never left their own community.
Most of us
Never.
are like that. Like go to any apartment complex in your city with blacks and just observe those people. Those people spend less than 20% of their time outside of their house. Why you think when you go to the projects, it's a satellite dish hanging out of every window? We go
That's
to the
true.
grocery store, you know what I'm saying? We come home and we might go out to the wash house, you feel me? And we might hit the club. We might get cute on Friday once or twice a week and hit the club. Let's be real.
So by you saying that, then we can honestly say that black people are still living in fear. If we don't go outside, then pretty much we are afraid. Why are we afraid to go outside when
living not so much in fear, but just living? They're comfortable. We're very comfortable. It's like you put a rat or a hamster in a cage. The hamster never tries to escape because he's comfortable there. He got everything he needs: his food, his water, his little spinning wheel if you want to exercise, right? So black people have a routine. You want me to tell you, and I'm gonna get off this subject, but you want me to tell you the proof positive that black folks ain't scared of nothing, not police or nothing?
Mm-hmm.
When I was young, I was in a gang, right? We would know that the other gang members were gonna be at a party. Hey, cuz, it's a house party over here tonight. We knew the what we would call the enemies was gonna be there that night, right? And we knew they would have guns, and we knew they probably was gonna shoot at us. Did that stop us from showing up? We gotta stop this narrative that black men are afraid of getting shot, because we're really not. Every gang member in America will prove to you that Dinus.
I mean, Brandon, not even that. I mean, I knew that club on that corner or that juke joint, somebody get shot up every night, but we still went.
Hey, Dinus, we knew. We go to the Poly High School game. We know it's gonna be a shooting in the parking lot afterwards. Did that stop us from going to the game and posting up in the parking lot after the game? No. So I mean, it's a false narrative. Black people are afraid of getting shot. Black people are afraid of this. Black people are just comfortable.
So question. You said, and I agree with you. Black people, because like I said again, I was gang affiliated too. So I will agree with the fact that yes, black people, black men, we will go post up at these parties. And guess what? If something pop off, then guess what? Everybody's shooting back, right? So we're not afraid to shoot, and we're not afraid to shoot back when it's our own kind. But when it's the policeman, oh yes, sir. Yeah, they shook. They can't aim them guns at the policeman that's aiming them guns at them.
Right.
Come on now. So it's like we are more detrimental to ourselves, and it's like versus everybody else. We killing our own selves, and we making it too easy for the oppressor.
And this is the kind of, and let me tell you, brother, these are the type of things I feel like should dominate the conversations of our people, right? And not just talking about what's going on, how to change that, right? And this also goes back into the title. Are people dying without no type of plan in place? Because at the end of the day, as a man, I'm not afraid to die. But as a husband and a father, I'm afraid to die and leave my family in a bad position. You feel me? And that's the more important thing. And that's what we need to be focused on. Nobody expected Runoko to not be here today. Nobody. If you could have picked one person you thought wasn't going to make it to see today, right? None of us would have said Runoko Rashidi, even though he was an older man. Now he's gone. That could be me. That could be Dinus. That could be you. That could be TR, Chaos Ray, anybody. So what we're saying is, black man, black woman, don't you think that let's use this as an opportunity to look at the reality. We get on these channels looking at history and loving to watch people debate and argue and talk trash. But how many of us on here right now and ain't got no life insurance policy? How many of us right here can't even afford a emergency over $1,000? You feel me? See, so man, a life insurance policy right now. I got a life insurance policy. I got an annuity, and then I got life insurance on the side of that. I got a life insurance policy for $15 a month, bro. $100,000 policy. I got it just because it was only $15 a month. I said, what's wrong with an extra $100,000 for my daughter and my wife if I drop dead? $15 a month. I spend that same amount on damn Amazon every month.
We got to learn how to use, like I said, you got that life insurance policy, like 100. So like I said, the most thing that we like to do, I'm telling you, when we get the bag, when we get our money, we automatically go spend on what we want, not necessarily what we need. So like I said, we need to learn how to invest. We need to learn how to buy the land back. And when we buy the land back, now we'll be able to produce the crops. We'll be able to have the crops produced.
Let me tell you the first thing we got to learn how to do before anything.
And then I'm gonna let Men's Restoration Channel hop on.
Listen, all black people listen to me, and we talked about this on one episode with obstacles to opportunity. The first thing black people need to learn how to do is save their freaking money. Before you can do anything, you have to learn how to save, because you can't invest if you don't know how to save. You will just go put your money in Robinhood. As soon as you see a pair of shoes you like, you'll be hitting freaking you'll be pressing the thing for them to send your money back to your bank account, and you'll be itching for that 3 days to pass for that money to hit your account. You gotta learn how to save. And part of saving, the first investment you make is life insurance. That's your first investment. And you don't just get life insurance on you. Get it on everybody in your family, because you don't know who's gonna drop first. But you need to make it to where when that person, should you have the unfortunate circumstance of a death in your family, you have the ability to bury your loved ones and use their death as a way to progress your family forward, right? And protect your interests. So go ahead, Men's Restoration Channel.
Go ahead, Men's Restoration Channel. Go ahead.
Hey, Dinus, this Daniel. How you doing, man?
Go ahead, Daniel. How you doing? Oh, what's up, brother? Brother Daniel, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Hello, everyone. I want to push back on that white supremacy argument, because I spent 25 years of my life speaking that nonsense. Most of that stuff is in people's heads. The 4 things that we control, we don't even control. We control mate selection. We control conflict resolution skills. We control financial literacy. And we control what we put in our mouth. To me, every time I hear that word white supremacy, it's nothing but casting spells. Nobody's superior to us. If they were superior, using your argument, they wouldn't have to do all the things that they did to disrupt the family. The first thing they did 150 years ago, really not even 150 years ago, is because we was married at a higher rate than them prior to World War I. The disintegration of the family is what undid us as a group, and this is what they are doing to everybody. I'm speaking. When you disintegrate the family, you make everybody potential consumers, because fathers are the key to thriving lifestyles. Once you remove the father, the mother has to work. The children become human capital for the corporations, because typically fathers, not all men who have children are fathers. Fathers build businesses. See, I saw my parents thriving in the 80s scrubbing toilets. A lot of my about 4 of my classmates and about 3 of my brother's classmates are thriving because we do business with integrity. We're not doing anything special. My parents had bad credit. They was teenage parents. They had a will to win. They didn't make excuses. We have to stop making excuses because a lot of us have put ourselves in damnable positions by the type of woman we lay up with. We'll impregnate a woman who isn't qualified to be a mother, and then we find ourselves on child support. Is that the white supremacy? Because no white man put your penis in that woman, or a white man made a black woman sleep with a deadbeat man. See, a lot of this stuff that people crying about, we control. Marriage is one of the greatest indicators of wealth. Wherever you can look at the statistics, high divorce equals poverty. What do we have? Broken families. When you have proper conflict resolution skills, you don't find yourselves shooting at your fellow brother. You don't find yourself slapping your woman. So that takes a lot of the black men and women out of the graves and out of the prison system or some form of the system, the probation system, because you don't have a domestic violence or a violent case. 50% of bankruptcies is associated with 50% of bankruptcies are associated with medical expenses. So if you stop eating yourself to death, you are more productive for many more years. Therefore, you're not on these drugs at 40, 45, 50. Let's look at our people. When we stop eating in the home, because I grew up in the 70s and 80s. Mm-hmm. We didn't always eat at restaurants. The influx of restaurants since the late 80s and 90s, now everybody's obese. We don't grow food. The basic stuff that we control, that we claim that the white supremacy, we ain't talking about the Negroes in the hood. We understand our brothers and sisters have limited options. But I was there in West End in the 1990s. There was Muslims and Hebrews. We could have got all those properties for $5,000, $10,000. We didn't buy shit.
Not even in the 90s. I'm talking about just 6 years ago.
We gave $400 billion to churches. No, excuse me, $40 billion to churches. Where's that money? Typically to black pastors. We have to hold. Let's hold ourselves accountable first. Do everything we can do. Then when you've done everything you can do in present day, because we can't lean on Tulsa no more. That was 80 years ago. When we've done everything we can possibly do within our power, then we meet a force, then we can say, yes, presently, this is what they're doing, and then we can adjust our strategies. But a lot of this stuff we got to own because we have to own it.
The Men's Restoration Channel, my only question to you, and I agree with what you're saying. So don't think I'm not. But my only thing is when Black Wall Street happened, and Black America.
That's 80 years ago. Talk about now.
I'm just saying. Even now.
They rebuilt Black Wall Street. They rebuilt it.
Actually, Black Wall Street happened 100 years ago now.
Okay, but still, it was labeled as a threat.
Well,
but I'm not. Yeah.
What you do is you keep pushing.
What undid Black Wall Street was desegregation. They rebuilt it.
Hold on, listen. Black Wall Street being destroyed is tiny in comparison to what we willingly gave to white people, right? So they destroyed Black Wall Street. Let's take that off the table. But think of the multi-trillions of dollars we willingly gave up to white folks. You had the Negro League baseball. You had Negroes celebrating their stars, leaving their league to go play for the white man.
Yeah.
Then the Negro League was gone. We gave that away. And I guarantee you the Negro League had the potential to be worth way more than Black Wall Street, right? Because now these baseball leagues and stuff is multi-billion-dollar global industries, right? Entities. So everything, when you go get a car loan and you sign over, you just cheesing to pay that 19-20% interest rate, right? You giving your money away. You're giving your wealth to them, right?
We're giving our children away too. So one of our greatest assets is raising a child. It's $230,000 to raise a child.
Let's stay on this for 1 second. But what I'm saying is to keep bringing up Black Wall Street is very disingenuous, because to talk about the one thing that white people destroyed, or they have several of them.
I mean, it was more than that.
But what to talk about what the white man destroyed, but was rebuilt, and then we handed it over to him because Black Wall Street was rebuilt, and we handed over because when desegregation ended, we couldn't wait to go get up in Sears Roebucks and Woolworths, right? We just left our economy behind. So can you say that them destroying it was the threat? When they destroyed it, we rebuilt it, which is what industrious people do. Can you still bring that up when we had many things that followed that we willingly gave up to go shop with white folks? See, so that Black Wall Street argument is one of those things I say is going to have to die for us to move forward, because beyond that happening, we gave away way more than Black Wall Street, willingly gave it. So those people who was 10 years removed from Black Wall Street loved the white man enough and thought so little of Black Wall Street that knowing what happened on Black Wall Street, they still was like, "Oh, I don't want nothing more than to go shop at Woolworths." Us 100
Exactly.
years later, can't pretend to care about it more than they did. We gave it away. We told the white man, "You destroyed Black Wall Street, but all's forgiven." So we didn't forget the white man for that. So let's just let that die and start focusing on what we need to do, because our ancestors forgave them for doing that stuff.
Well, which goes back to, again, how we spend our money. It's straight up, collectively. It goes right back to what I was saying earlier. Just like we gave away hip hop when it was strictly deaf.
One second.
We never owned hip hop. We never owned hip hop.
Man, hip hop started back in the Bronx, man.
They never owned that. They never owned it. They never owned it.
The whole culture of it, of course.
The culture was given to you.
The culture aspect. You know,
the culture was given to us. Case in point, let me give you a lot of hip hop started with pain and political issues, correct? Languishing in whatever condition.
Rap started with that gangster rap.
Just work with me. No. Okay, it came out of the Bronx. Where did it come up from?
Hip hop.
Where did hip hop come from? Where did hip hop come from?
Bronx.
The Bronx. Okay, what part of the Bronx?
South Bronx.
Okay, was that a thriving part of the Bronx, or a impoverished part of the Bronx?
It was definitely impoverished, but what they
were fathers in the home? Yes or no?
I mean, some more than others.
Okay, so if we know the strongest communities that dominate Black communities today are strong patriarchal communities, the Arabs, the whites, the Chinese, correct?
Chinese.
Okay, all right. Now, they may have degenerate aspects of their culture. That's not even debatable. But when you remove the father out of the home, a lot of the protections that come with the culture, because a lot of the hip hop as we see today, okay, it may have gotten its start from the Bronx, but it has become degenerate because of the lack of men. When you go back and look at everything, the lack of fathers, the lack of cohesive homes is the beginning of a lot of the degeneracy we see today. I mean, I'm a 90s kid. I saw these women twerking and doing all this crazy stuff. No, they was running over me to get to shake their ass to Luke and the 2 Live crew. A lot of them they didn't come from strong homes. Freaknik, they didn't come from strong homes either. All of this, a lot of the problems we see, we want to point at white folks. I've been hearing this argument for 20 plus years. We have to, until Black men take a strong position at home, and then we have to have the right appropriate women, because we have to understand a lot of our women being co-opted too. Mm-hmm. Until the Black family is restored, this is going to be a circular argument.
I agree.
Everything is family.
Look at this. Let me say this. It doesn't matter who started hip hop. You gave it away, and now it's gone.
Right.
Because once the first Black artist said, "I'm going to give the rights to my music. I'm going to give ownership of my music, of my art, to a white-owned record company," I'm gonna make it, but everything I make, they own, like a slave, like a real slave, right? Everything you plant and grow, Massa own it. You did the work, he owns it. Once the first artist decided to do that, it was no longer ours. It's the same thing we did when I talked about the Negro League. We had the talent, we had the skill. We sold ourselves into slavery to Major League Baseball so that every skill and talent we had, they got the lion's share of the money for it, and then they dispersed a little bit of the pennies to us, right? Hip hop is the same way. Right now, you know, you got a wave where there's these independent artists, right?
Right.
But from Michael Jackson to Prince to the Isleys to Luther to all these people, there are other than Michael, he bought back all his masters stuff. Other than him, most of these guys' music is still owned by whites. DMX just died. DMX's catalog is owned by white people. So we can't claim hip hop. That's the white man. The number one rapper of all time, the most biggest earning is what color? White. Eminem. White people will say he is the greatest rapper of all time. So now, not only did they get over on you by convince you to sell them your art.
And then Brandon, let me interject. You know who the number 2 is, from understanding?
Who?
Vanilla Ice.
Probably most popular, yeah. So the thing is, you can't even claim, like, I love when black people bring up hip hop because it's like it's the perfect example of how we started something that had amazing potential, but even at the most infantile stages, we gave it away. We are under the power of influence, like Dr. Amos Wilson said. So everything we make, the first thing we do, if it looks like it's worth anything, we try to take it to white folks and say, here, master, you want this? Mm-hmm. And then he look at it and say, nigga, that might be profitable. How much money you want for that? Oh, just give me $500. Just give me just loan me. We give them our art for a loan, not even for a purchase. Like when these dudes sold their art and their talent to these record labels took their work and later on sued those artists saying, yo, you owe me $200,000, $500,000. Why? Because the studio time, because the tour bus, because this, because that. So you didn't just sell them your art. You gave them your art and in exchange for a loan. And they was like, nigga, if I'm able to use your art, it's like, I'll give you a prime example to make it clear. Say I'm a painter. I paint a painting, right? I take that painting to somebody. I say, bro, I'm a real good painter. Look at my work. They tell me, look, bro, I want you to come work for me. Everything you paint will be owned by me. But here's the thing. If I can't sell your painting to other people for a lot of money, right? I'll give you the money to get your supplies and everything. But that's a loan. But if me selling your paintings don't cover that loan I gave you, you owe me. So not only do I own your paintings, but if I can't sell your paintings for a profit, I'm coming back to you and getting the money out of you. So I'm getting my money, period. That's called a 360 deal. Like you're giving me, you're gonna guarantee that I'm gonna make money. Because if I can't get it by selling your art, I'm gonna take you to court and sue you for the money. Right? And this is why you saw all those artists back in the days on drugs, stressed out, messed up, because they signed their soul away. They took what they had of value and gave it to the white man. And we do this every single day, even down to this day. You got
a lot of them cats weren't reading the contracts. You already know a lot of them cats weren't. A lot of them cats wasn't reading them contracts. They didn't have lawyers present, so all they did was take advantage of the ignorance that they had. Like I said, they gave them the advance, and like I said, when you give black people an advance, you see the money up front. So once you see the money up front, it's just like, you know, they ran with it. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't read the fine prints, and later on down the road, that's exactly how they end up in the situations that they ended up in.
Can I give you a quote that I made on my show the other day? I did a show the other day. I said, white people didn't build America off of slavery. White people built America off of black people's refusal to read a damn contract.
They built it off the patent system.
Listen, if you think of all the contracts that black people signed that totally fucked them over financially, whether it's for the car you drive, whether it's for the house you think you own, whether it's for the record deal you got, whether it's for the furniture you got from Rent-A-Center, white people are getting black people to sign contracts that are not in their best interest is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. So when you think of Black Wall Street, where white people came directly at black people and burnt and destroyed something, that pales in comparison to what we are literally willingly giving to them. So I'm just like, the battle has changed. The battle is no longer fighting white people to make sure they don't tear up the things we built. The battle is now convincing black people that they don't need the crap that white people tell them they need to be happy. And that's why people like Runoko Rashidi, I love the guy. I mean, I think he's a great elder and he's doing his thing. But people like Runoko Rashidi, I felt it was just their obligation, you know, as time went on, to transition from the history lesson. Let the work stand for itself. You don't see the guy who wrote The Catcher in the Rye going back, revising the book, doing lectures on the book every day, and traveling around the country to tell people about the book. The guy lets the work stand on its own. Our scholars can't do that. You got dudes like Kwesi, no disrespect to him. You got dudes like Kwesi, he's still doing tours to Egypt. Kwesi, you didn't say everything you need to say about Egypt, brother. Let your work stand on its own, and let's move on to something else. And we have a problem doing that. Where's the Kwesi Institution? Where's the Runoko Rashidi Institute? He got a building over in LA, but now that he's gone, that building is about to be gone. I guarantee you it won't be there in 6 months. Where's the institution? Where's the thing where you set it up to where now you got donors who contribute to your stuff for the next 100 years? Like, you know, have you ever heard of the Carnegie Foundation?
Oh yeah, of course.
That dude died so long ago. He died like decades ago. That guy was so rich. To this day, his foundation is still donating money to places all over the world. NPR, they donate them money. That's called building a legacy. Damn, my work transcends my physical life. It goes beyond that. We don't got none of that. That brother's dead. He's going to be forgotten in a couple years, just like everybody else. Now we got to start. Now, Pan-Africanism and all that, it has to evolve. We have to start building institutions. We have to start protecting our legacy even posthumously. And we have to start creating work that stands for itself, so we don't got to traverse the country every damn day doing lectures and stuff to eat. Buy a book that somebody want to buy, so you don't have to go do a lecture all the time.
So
make a book.
Yeah, I agree. And I have a question. So remember I was talking about collective spending, right? So if we all collectively put our money together, because there's a lot of us, I mean, how about we, you know what I'm saying, put out the fact that maybe buy a bank or build a bank, you know, build our own bank. Because like I said, we got all the millionaires and black millionaires and celebrities and all that stuff, but not one of them seem to own one bank with all that money. And you know, then, you know what I'm saying, we could talk about economics. If we are, you know, giving affordable rates to our own people, you know, then we can talk about stuff like this. We need to get in the economic game. And the way we get in the economic game is to use our money to do what? To build the bank. Now we can supply our own people. We can have our own people, you know, come and put money in the bank, our bank, where they know it's protected by their own people. Instead of shopping with the other man, you could shop with the brother man. You know what I'm saying? We could do stuff like that.
The biggest thing is you just have to lead by example, right? That's like one thing.
Exactly.
If you look at wolves in the wild, right? The alpha wolf don't got no damn leash tied to them other wolves to make them follow him. He goes this way, they follow him. Because in their mind, they say, if I go with him, I have the best chance of survival. If my brothers go and transition from what they learned,
Brandon, can I interject real quick? I'm so sorry. And Crypto Black makes a great point. I was just about to say this. You already have black banks. So here in Atlanta, you have Citizens Trust Bank. In LA, there's Broadway Federal. Is it still Broadway Federal or Capital City? What is it called in LA, Brandon? The black bank.
One United or something like that.
Yeah. They changed the name. So we already have black banks. So just deposit money into one of the banks. Go ahead.
Black banks are owned by white banks. It's not really even black banks. But the thing, and they all answer to the FDIC or whatever that's called. So they don't control nothing. Your rate, your loan rates, whether you get approved for a loan, it's all controlled by white systems. So black banks don't really do anything for black people. But hey, it's a feel-good thing, so that's cool. But let me tell you this. Amina, my friend Amina, said the Hidden History Museum is underway. That's a Tariq Nasheed thing. We don't need another museum. Like, we just don't. This speaks to exactly what I just said. We got to stop getting caught up on the history. We got to stop. I'm not talking about a museum. I'm talking about a real institution where not only can you learn about something, but now you got people there who take your work and study your work and further your work. Your work evolves under their tutelage. You know what I'm saying? Under their tutor, under their, what is it called, Dynasty? They're on their watch or whatever. Right?
Tutelage.
Yeah, that's what happens. Like Harvard University is not a museum. Harvard is an institution. Harvard's going to be here long after we all die. They don't got no artifacts sitting up in there, right? This is something that is constantly progressing and evolving. The Smithsonian is a museum, and every year they got to go beg people for money, right, to stay in existence. Harvard, they got students paying top dollar, begging to get in. Then they got alumni who come back and give millions and billions of dollars. That's an institution. I'm not. We got a lot of museums. They got a museum in Washington that they just made. How is that an institution? Or is
got
that
the Trap House in Atlanta?
Exactly. Now, is that really? Look, I know a trap house, right?
But Daniel, listen. When I say that line be wrapped around the building and up the street for that trap house every weekend, like, it's crazy.
Facts. Yeah, and let me tell you, there are food institutions.
What you're saying about leading by example is the number one challenge that most men and women who are able must do. And it starts small. We can start with susus. I mean, let's basic. A lot of this stuff is within our control, but do we want it bad enough? And it goes back to what the brother said earlier. A lot of us are comfortable. A lot of us are comfortable pontificating and intellectually masturbating all day. Our problems are not impossible. Some people are too far gone. We can't save everybody.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't even do a susu men's restoration. If you can't get to the money on your own, then I don't want to be with you. I don't want to deal with you. Because
I think a susu can be beneficial. Just say if you have a young son who has a knack for inventions. He's just brilliant. It would be in my best interest to invest in you, or Mansa, or my son, whoever. And sometimes we have to. I know I need to keep an extra few dollars just in case, because we're supposed to be our brother's keeper, but sometimes we can be our brother's investor with an extra 500, 1,000, because a lot of the inventions that we see today, a lot of broke people manifested this stuff. They didn't have, and why they had to sell it, because they didn't have community backing.
Right.
But so it goes back to the patent issue.
The thing about the susu is this: for a susu, you have to have a sense of community first, right?
True.
The problem why susus in our community break down is because we don't have this sense of community. First thing that happened with a susu is they're gonna start saying somebody's stealing, right? Oh, this person's stealing, or I put my money in, but now I want these rims, so I want money out right now, right? Or somebody supposed to bring somebody in and they don't do it. It turns into fraud with Black people. And that's because we don't have a strong sense of community. We're not looking at, you got to understand the origin of susus, right? Is that you have to, it comes from a place where people experience extreme poverty, right? So when they're saving the money and giving it to another person to help to fund their idea, they're saying what this person is doing is going to benefit our community, right? Okay, so say your community has no grocery store and Harold wants to open a grocery store. Okay, we create a susu, give Harold the money to get the grocery store going so he can import the food, so we got a place to get good food, right? That's a problem here because Black people going to say, well, there's Ralph's and Food for Less down the street. Kroger's is up the road on the corner right off of whatever street, right? They don't need it. Susus were born out of necessity. We don't need this stuff because some other race has already created it for us. So that's why susus in America don't succeed among Black folks, because everything that we would buy or create is already available to us, and with just a little bit of, like, every black person in America, I kid you not, they find a way to buy a car, put $5,000 down on a car. They find a way to get a car note. I mean, I've had women I knew and men who were straight up homeless and bought new cars. And Dinus, I know you've experienced that too.
Black a new car every year.
No, I'm talking about black folks who you would swear they was broke, they homeless, they living on somebody's couch, and next thing you know, they rolling up in a new car.
Oh yeah.
We are not that far away from wealth in America to where we even can use a susu, or we can see the benefit of a susu. Black folks are all about comfort. So they just like, look, if I can keep my money and sleep on Shaquanda's couch, I'm gonna go do that because I really want this new car. So they won't pay any rent for a couple of months. But what I wanted to really get at is, Dinus, I want to ask you a question, right?
Go ahead.
Let me give you a hypothetical.
Go ahead.
In men's restoration, you can listen to this, answer this too. Okay. So Dinus, you've been to LA, right?
Used to live in LA.
Crenshaw Boulevard, multi-million-dollar real estate, Windsor Hills, right?
Right.
Okay. Heavily gentrifying area, rapidly gentrifying area at this point. So I get this idea. I say, you know what, Dinus? You know what our people need right now? Our people need a history museum. Not a black history museum, a hidden history museum, right? Now, I put this museum, I make black people think it's for them, right? Hidden history. I put this museum. I don't start a business. I don't build apartments or affordable housing, nothing like that. I start a fundraiser to start a museum in an area. One, it's a train being built through there for tourism, basically.
Did they finish the light rail coming up Crenshaw?
No, they're working on it right now. They're working on it right now. Look at this. So I put a museum on Crenshaw. I know black people are getting pushed out of Crenshaw because the rent is too high. They're getting pushed out of Lamar Park by the price. If I build a museum called the Hidden History Museum, who am I building that museum for, Dinus? Am I building that museum? And mind you, I'm doing a fundraiser among black folks to build this. But I'm going to be the sole owner of it, right? Am I building that museum for the black people who are getting pushed out of that neighborhood? Or am I building that museum for the white people who are gentrifying them out of that neighborhood?
I guess it'll be more for the white people.
Right, because that's for the people that will be for the people who are occupying that neighborhood in the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, right? So when people keep talking about this museum that's being built on Crenshaw, I'm like, why didn't you build that in like Alabama or Atlanta in a black neighborhood or somewhere where black people live? If it's for us, if our money built it, Dinus, would you take black people's money and build something on Crenshaw right now?
You know what happened? So the Crenshaw Baldwin Hills Mall, there was a black outfit or a black company or investment group, I'm sorry, who put in the highest bid for that mall. They still got denied.
Oh, yeah. Of course. But that's because it's gentrifying, Dinus. That area is no longer going to be a black area. So I see people in the comments talking about, oh, we got a museum coming. It's an institution. And I'm like, yo, wait a minute. How is the museum that's owned by one guy in our community? No institution is owned by one person, first of all, right? So that's one thing. Institutions are controlled by board members, and they're usually like publicly owned and operated. Like Harvard is a private institution, but no one person owns that. So no institution is owned by one person, right? Hey, Dinus, put the link in the chats for Jay Line.
No, we're about to close out here soon. So
okay. Yeah. But no institution is owned by one person. Also, institutions are designed to further a certain group of people. Harvard is owned by white folks. Harvard was founded by white folks, and the number one group of people attending Harvard is what, Dinus?
White folks.
But what I'm telling you is, you're not benefiting by building a museum. You don't need a museum. You can go on YouTube right now and learn all the history you want to for free. But you're like, no, I need something where I go pay to see something that I already know. And when I walk out, then what? When you walk out, Dynasty, you walk into the Hidden History Museum, you look at all the exhibits. Once you walk out, are you feeling like this has furthered your cause as a black person?
I haven't been to it yet, so I don't know.
No, but if you do, any museum. Go to the Slave History Museum.
Yeah, I haven't been to them. I don't go to museums, so I just
And my father-in-law said, you need to go to the Slave History Museum in
well,
Washington.
here in America, I can't tell you the last time I went to a museum. Like,
museums are just they're about memories. It's about the past. Hey, this is the history, right? But what I'm saying is we need real institutions that grow and evolve. Something like Umar Johnson with his school thing, whether it's real or not, it's a great idea. I'm not saying Umar's gonna, he's done it or whatever, but that type of stuff is a great idea. That's an institution, right? Now, if you get another brother, I mean, we should have saw 20 brothers doing that. And especially with all these brothers who said Umar ain't doing no school, well, then there should have been 10 brothers, like the brother Randall X, or is his name Randall X? Randall, King Randall, the
right,
guy in Atlanta. That brother's creating an institution. He's there on the ground, setting up curriculums, teaching young boys how to do this, do that, so they can then go and teach someone else how to do it. And they go out and they're successful, and then they come give back to the X for Black Boys institution, right? That's an institution, my people. That's an institution. The Smithsonian Museum is not an institution. It's a museum. So they have to beg for money to stay open every year. They have to go and the government gives them money, and they're basically like a storage facility for artifacts. I'm talking about schools, right? I'm talking about businesses, things that just keep going forward. Even when the owner dies, it keeps going forward. Look at sports teams, the Lakers. Jerry Buss is dead. The Lakers is still going strong. Right or wrong, Dynas?
Right.
That is an institution, guys. And the Lakers ain't talking about a championship from 1989. What they focused on right now, Dynas?
Get a championship next year.
In 2022. That is an institution, guys. The Dodgers, that's an institution. So clearly what we got to work on is the definition of an institution, right? And what we need is not the type of institution that sit and collect dust. We need the type of institution that's progressive and is on the cutting edge. Every year it's relevant, right? We need the Lakers, dog. We need the Lakers, not the Minneapolis. What was it? We need the Lakers. We don't need the damn ABA, team that's just the Harlem Globetrotters. We need something that's progressive, that's constantly pushing the standard of excellence, and that's what I want. Look, right now, the people like Runoko, the ones who doing the scholarship and stuff, the young pharaohs of the world, all these dudes. If I got one message to them, brothers, I'm going to say this. Brothers, let's focus on creating a legacy and building progressive institutions that outlive us and continue to go forward even after we're dead. We don't need the history lessons. We don't need all the debating. I'm going to prove you wrong and stuff. Let your work speak for itself. Work, peer review, right? Scholarship, work, peer review. Write a book. Let the book stand on its own merit and move on to the next thing. And that's all I have to say. Progressive institutions.
Yes, sir. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, family, Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Also, if you're interested in joining us in Sierra Leone, send me an email, message me. Let's roll. Until next time, family, Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Peace.
Peace.